Hey, what's going on, guys? So we are 1 week into the league and I was finally able to buy a Mageblood. And as you can see here in this trade, I did buy it for 195 exalts, which is pretty much 200 exalts. So in this video, I want to show you the strategy that I did this with. So as you can see here, the strategy is pretty simple. I was just farming logbooks. So first I want to talk about my build that I did this strategy with. Then I want to mention what I was doing throughout the week, so what led up until this point, and then I'm gonna explain the strategy. So first of all, I did this with skeleton mages. So my build currently is around 15 exalts, and I can do the logbooks pretty easily, and skeleton mages are also pretty nice for logbooks because you can do pretty much every single mod. So things like immune to lightning damage, immune to cold, immune to fire, you can do them separately because skeleton mages deal 3 different types of damage. But obviously still every single immunity hurts your damage a lot, so you don't want to stack too many of them. You can also do things like block, cannot reach life, and pretty much every single mod you can do, but obviously you don't want to stack too many bad ones, like monsters cannot deal, your minions cannot deal critical strikes, or immune to, again, things like lightning, cold damage. If you stack too many of them, it might start getting difficult. So my gear is pretty much Fleshcrafter, Ashes of the Stars, and Shield with life percentage on block. Everything else is extremely cheap. I have obviously 2 cluster jewels. I'm not gonna go too deep into my build, but it is pretty simple. I'm gonna link the PoE in the description. It's probably around 15 exalts right now, and the most expensive item is 16 Fleshcrafter. So the way the week went for me is I actually didn't start farming for Mageblood that fast, and if I did this strategy immediately, I actually would have Mageblood probably on like a day 2 of the league, maybe day 3. And why this didn't happen is because this league I mostly have been pretty chill at the beginning of the league. I just wanted to try out new things, the new atlas, figure out the league mechanics. I was not really focusing on making currency that much, and then after I was done with my atlas and figure out the league mechanic, I did some bossing because I haven't done that in a while. And I'm not gonna lie, bossing was not the best strategy. I pretty much made like 5 to 10 exalts in one day, so it wasn't that crazy. And then I finally decided to start farming logbooks, and when I actually did that, I only did it for a few hours. And then for one full day I actually had to take a break because I actually didn't feel too good, and also my eyes would actually hurt from looking at all of the mods at the logbooks, so I pretty much took one day off. So after that I actually started farming, and I did farm for I think like 2 maybe 3 days to get the Mageblood. So with this strategy, again, I was farming probably 2-3 days just to get it, but prices of some stuff have changed right now. So if you're gonna play like 10 hours per day, maybe more, I would say you can do this right now probably in 3 days. So profit from them right now is between 6 and 8 exalts depending on how lucky you are. Okay, so now let's talk about the strategy and logbooks themselves. So the logbooks I was buying are logbooks with Black Scythe. So I was buying them on TFT for between 45 and 55C. Right now you probably have to buy them for 55. And then I was also using the split beast recipe. So this one split item into 2. So basically you can copy them. The reason why you want to do this is, first of all, you have easier time with buying split beast and yellow beast than buying logbooks. Logbooks sometimes are hard to buy, not that many people sell them, so I prefer to split them if I get them. The second reason is, if you do it this way, you actually save a little bit of money. I would say yellow beast plus red beast are between 45 and 50C, and these you buy for between 50 and 55. So you save on average like 5 chaos every time you split. So it's a little bit money saved. But the third reason is the fact that you can split only the good ones, good logbooks. So for example, I personally hate Rotting Temple, Sarn Slums, Mountainside, Desert Ruins, and Volcanic Island layouts. So I am not splitting these layouts, but I, for example, really like Forest Ruins, and this one has Forest Ruins, so I would split this one. This one has Val Temple, which is also nice, so I would also split this. This is also very nice. Let me find one that I would not split. So this one has Forest Ruins, but in Druids. For Black Scythe, it has only Mountainside and Desert Ruins, so I actually would just run this. I would not split it. I don't think it's that great, so I don't think it's worth it. And the way I do it is, first I choose the logbook, then I scour it, and well, you don't really need to scour it, it has to be rare, so I would alchemy it. I look at the implicit that I want to run, so in here I will run Forest Ruins, and I look at the modifiers, and then I use Blessed Orbs to roll the modifiers to as higher value as possible. So here I will care mostly about quantity of artifacts. I want this to be at least 30%. And here is also explosive placement range 36. So I think this roll is decent. It's good enough to keep it. And after I roll the implicit, then I go split, because now this item and the copy, both of them are gonna have already rolled implicit. So now I go to split it. And now I have 2 Forest Ruin logbooks. But you can't do it anymore because now they have split tag. And because you do this, now the item has half of the rare mod on it, because it has been splitted. And you do care about quantity, because quantity and pack size increase the amount of loot you get. So now I would actually also scour both of them and alchemy them again, because I want as high quantity as possible. And most of the time I would go for at least 50, maybe sometimes 60. And let's now check the mods. So this one is easy. This one is looking also pretty easy. So now let me just quickly show you how I would run it. I'm not gonna do full run because they take quite a while to do. I'm just gonna show you the setup. So this is the Forest Ruins. And also from time to time you can spawn bosses, and if you get the boss, you get a ton of loot from him. So you start here, and the first thing I do is I check out all of the remnants. So for example, this one doesn't have anything too great. I'm basically looking for quantity of artifacts, but dropped by monsters. This one is from chest. This is also decent, so I would probably start here if I don't find anything else that is great. So there's nothing in here, nothing here. Quantity of items, this actually does not affect the amount of artifacts you get, so this is not that great. And I mostly just care about the artifacts. This is pack size. Pack size is also pretty nice. So far there is the quantity of artifacts in the left corner, and there is pack size here. These are the only decent remnants that I found. This is what you are looking for, quantity of artifacts. So now I know this is my goal. I want to reach this remnant as fast as possible, because when you destroy it, then all of the monsters after this explosion are gonna be affected by it. Everything that you explode before it are not gonna be affected. So you want to go for the greater remnants first. This is stack decks from chest, which is also decent, but not something like super amazing. And now I'm gonna check top. Here is a pack size and nothing. If there was like artifacts here, then I would actually decide to go top instead of the bottom. So now I would start placing remnants. So again, this is something decent. It has immune to lightning, but like I said before, it is pretty bad for this build, but you can still do it. So I would destroy this. And also I'm focusing mostly on destroying the skulls, which are gonna spawn monsters. I don't really care that much about the chests. So again, I would destroy these remnants, and now I am just focusing on going to this bottom corner for the quantity of artifacts, and on the way I will just destroy whatever I can find. So Here would be underground zone. Let's go for this. Now here are a few, this is a chest and the skull, and now I finally reached a skull and quantity of artifacts. So now I know there isn't really anything that great anymore in this layout. There was one pack size, I believe, somewhere around here. There is a stack dex here, but at that point I would just care about destroying as many skulls as possible. So I would just go for these skulls here. If there are some decent remnant of the way, obviously I still go for them, but again I'm mostly caring about these skulls and underground zones. Underground zones are decent, but they are not that great. So here are another ones. A few more. Also, I'm not doing this like 100% efficient right now because I want to make this as fast as possible for the video. One more here, two here, and this is a really nice cluster. A lot of here. Right now I see pack size here, and I noticed it was at the beginning, so I could have went this route, like started here, went to the top and then went to the bottom, but now it is too late. I don't think it's worth to like redo completely the route if you at the end notice something that is decent, and I don't think it's worth to change it. And then at the end I check the mods just to double check if I did hit something bad. So this is 30% reduced damage and immune to lightning, which also kind of reduces my damage by 33%. So it would not be like the easiest one, but it still would be not that super hard to do. So I actually was gonna not show you the fight part of the strategy, but I figured you might want to see how hard it is for my build, and I guess I am gonna actually show it to you. So what I'm doing is I'm just spawning the skeletons and hide behind them so I don't die to the rare monsters. I actually forgot to swap the gems, so I'm gonna go back to town because this is the setup for single target. So I'm using volley and pierce. So let's go back. So again, if I find the boss, I am swapping the gems to hypothermia and predator. And bosses are also pretty easy on this build. So again, damage is not the craziest. You can probably do this better on some other builds. I think actually the best builds for this would be the damage over time builds, because you go through all of the shields that the monsters have. So there are like some melee monsters that have shields on them, and these monsters are extremely hard to kill or on pretty much any hit based build. So I cleared like half of the map right now. I'm gonna go do underground zone. This is actually decent underground zone. Some of them are pretty bad. This is actually not that bad because it has 2 chests and sarcophag, which is some additional loot. Free sextants. So I'm also taking quite a lot of damage, but I actually don't believe I failed a single logbook throughout all the time I have been farming this. And I think I had to do somewhere between 100 and 150 logbooks to be able to afford the Mageblood. And again, I think it was between 6 and 8 exalts per hour. So now I am towards the end of the encounter, so there's a lot of remnants affecting the monsters. So now they are not as easy to kill. 4 coinages. I believe coinages right now are 6 chaos each, but I am not selling them because obviously I want to use them for rerolling with Tuyen. Now let's do the last underground zone, which is the spider. This one is also decent. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chests. Unfortunately, there's only 1 with artifacts, but it's still a decent one. Let's pick up all of the loot. And that's pretty much it. Last chest in here and it's done. Actually there's one more in here. And whenever there's a boss, then I focus on getting to a boss as fast as possible, because I don't want the boss to be affected by that many remnants. But what I also do is I always hit quantity of artifacts dropped by monsters before I hit the boss, because it increases the amount of artifacts you get from him. So you want to hit these remnants, then boss, and then clear the rest of the map. Okay, so the last thing I want to show you is rolling with Tuyen, so haggling with him. So, as you can see, I still have 250 coinages after I finish the strategy, so this is not really an issue. The issue that is gonna like stop you from buying stuff are the artifacts. So the things that I am buying are pretty much just currency, and for lesser, most of the time I don't even have to haggle, just to save some time, because you have so many lesser artifacts, you don't really need to do that. But the limiting artifacts are most of the time the greater and the grand. So I'm buying all of the stack decks, all of the like expensive currency. I'm not buying transmutation, augmentation, whetstone, armor scrap. I buy some of these scarabs, not a lot of them, because scarabs are now pretty cheap. And I also look at the jewels, because some of them are actually pretty expensive. And then I just reroll, buy more of this stuff. Again, for the lesser, most of the time I am not rerolling. And just continue like this. And this actually can take a long time. This actually sometimes takes longer than running logbooks themselves. But from what I remember, probably like 20% of the profit comes from the loot on the ground in the logbooks, and probably like 80% of the loot comes from buying the stuff from Tuyen. And here to show you the example, I have the best loot I ever got from Tuyen. Here is the screenshot. So as you can see here, there's 1 Exalt, 27 Chaos, and there's 1 Guardian map, which right now goes for between 30 and 45C, depending if you are selling it in bulk or not. So this is more than 1.5 Exalts from just one trading window. So that's pretty much it. Just to sum things up, I was just running logbooks with Tuyen for probably like 3 days. Also, if I would count all of the trading I had to do. And I finally was able to buy a Mageblood. I'm probably gonna use it on this build. And I am actually gonna start making a new build, which is gonna be for mapping. I'm not gonna talk about that later. I'm not gonna talk about that in this video. I'm gonna make another video later about that build. Fortunately, or I guess unfortunately, during the last day of farming session, I did cut my finger pretty badly. So fortunately now I have Mageblood, and this is gonna help me with not having to press my flasks, because the finger is on my left hand, so it's actually a very nice belt for, I guess, if you have any injuries on your hand. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.